Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. It is a beautiful day. It is a beautiful time to connect. We're getting ready as we're allowing people to connect to our live Q&A with Dr. Sam Chand. We're excited to be able to get some great answers to some good questions. We're excited about delving a little bit deeper and further into the sequence to success. And so we're going to give a little bit more time for a few more people to connect. It's always great to invest in our leadership. It's a good thing to grow in our leadership. We love the fact that we can never stop learning. If we want to learn, we can continue learning, we can continue growing. And what better way to do it than with people who are further ahead than us, people who have great experience, great wisdom, great knowledge. And we are preparing for the Sequence to Success Q&A with Dr. Sam. I don't know about everybody else, but I've got my copy. What an awesome, awesome book. What an awesome, awesome teaching. I know a lot of you tapped into the Sequence to Success bundle, which included not only the book, but also the workbook along with it, the Sequence to Success. The 3 O's that will take you anywhere in life. It's amazing how, as I've been studying this and going through this material, I see it everywhere I go. I see it in my life. I see it in my friends' lives. I talk about it with my kids. Observations, opinions, opportunities, the sequence to success, the trajectory of our lives. Why am I here? Why are you there? What an awesome teaching and what a great opportunity to connect. And so in this opportunity, we want to make sure that everybody who's connecting can not only hear from Dr. Sam and learn and grow, but maybe get a little bit of the behind the scenes. How did this book come about? We're gonna answer some of the questions that you guys have been asking. Also, some of the questions you're posting. There's gonna be a great opportunity to tap into the mind and the heart of our dear friend, Dr. Sam Chand. And so as people are connecting online, I just wanna take advantage of this opportunity. I wanna ask you a favor. Wherever you're joining from, if you can just go in the chat, maybe type in your name and where you're joining from, whether that's a city here in the United States. I'm Virgil. My name is Virgil Sierra. I'm the pastor of Vertical Church, also known as Iglesia Vertical. We are one church, 2 languages in the city of Sunrise, Florida, not too far from Miami. And I have the pleasure of pastoring a multicultural bilingual church. And I love what I've been learning with the Sequence to Success as a pastor, as a church leader, as a leader in the community. This material, the Sequence to Success, is making a difference in my life personally, on my staff, and with the people of our church. So wherever you're from, I said it, I'm Virgil from Sunrise, Florida, South Florida. Where are you connecting from? Could be the States, could be another country, maybe South America, Central America, Africa, Europe, Asia. Wherever you're connecting from, let us know. We want to know your name. We want to know where you're connecting from. And we want you to know that we love you, we care about you, we can't wait to spend this time together. So without further ado, I think it's time to hear from the man of the hour, from our dear friend, author, pastor, leader, Dr. Sam Chand. Dr. Sam, how are you doing today?
I am doing amazing, Virgil, and thank you for this awesome opportunity. I see so many people are logging in to be with us on this Sequence to Success. So everybody who's logging in right now has got the Sequence to Success bundle. This cover should be familiar to everybody right now. And you also have a workbook that went along with it. And everybody who's logging in right now has been through my video trainings that I have done. So you have received the book, you received the workbook, you have received videos. And so we are ready to delve into this whole thing about Sequence to Success. Before I go there, I want to talk about Pastor Virgil Sierra. He's a great friend of mine, and I met him for the first time in Bogota, Colombia. We were sharing a car ride from our hotel. We were both the same conference, and we're sharing a car ride from early in the morning. We're talking about early to the airport. Now, I had enough time on the way to the airport to get checked in and everything, but he was running really close. So a lot of our conversation on the car ride was, take it, and if you don't, what's plan B? And when we started talking in the car ride, we had no idea, listen to me now, we had no idea that one day he'd be hosting my call that will eventually go out worldwide to thousands of people on every continent. And that is how life starts. So the story behind the sequence to success is, how does somebody get anywhere in life? So I had never met Pastor Virgil Sierra before. We ran into each other in Bogota, Colombia. He lives in Miami, as he's told you. He's a pastor there. I did not know him. I don't know if he knew me or not, but there we were. And one thing led to the other, to the other, to the other. So the question becomes, how do you meet somebody for the first time, really not very long ago? How do you get to know them on a car ride from the hotel to Bogota, Colombia airport on the way back to the United States? And how does all that happen in the middle to bring us to this juncture that we are on the same screen together? How is it that I am willing to put my brand, my name, my program in his hand? How does that happen? And that is the kind of thinking that brought me to write the book Sequence to Success. How does anybody get anywhere? How does anybody have the opportunities that they have? How does life unwrap itself? How do you get there? That happens in my life all the time. I have been in so many green rooms and so many offices as I'm consulting with people in corporate or church, ministry, marketplace, where it doesn't matter, wherever I am. The question that goes on in my mind all the time is, how did I get here? What had to transpire for me to be in this room? And when I became a student of that, I started working it backward. I did I deconstructed it. That's a good word. I started deconstructing it to see, so if I am here, what happened before that? What happened before that? What happened before that? What happened before that to bring me to where I am? One thing leading to another. And that is what I call the sequence to success. 3 words, you already know them. 3 words. Let me do a little teaching on that, a little review on that. And then if you have questions, if you will just go to the question and answer and send a question in, we'll be happy to answer that for you. Virgil will get the questions and pass them on. And like he said earlier, if you let us know where you're coming from. I'm from Johannesburg, South Africa. I'm from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm from Manila, Philippines. I'm from Bogota, Colombia. I'm from Miami, Florida. Wherever you're from, just log in there, tell us where you're from. And if you have questions, please send them in, because just momentarily, in just a few minutes after I have spoken and reviewed, we'll be doing some questions with you as well. So as you well are aware, the whole book is built on 3 words: observations, opinions, opportunities. Just for the heck of it, let's just say that together. You ready? You ready? We're going to say that together on a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Observations, opinion, and opportunities. Let's talk about those. So what do people observe? The first thing people observe about you is your attitude. Let me make sure that you understand it's your attitude that people will meet first. It's about the attitude which says, I'm flexible. It's the attitude which says, I'm here on the team. It's the attitude which says, I bring solutions. It's the attitude which says, you can count on me. because it's not what a person says, but you will meet their attitude first. You observe their preparation. You observe their stability. You observe their trust. What you start doing is you start observing things about them. You start observing that they're articulate. You start observing they present themselves well. You start observing that they have a good sense of humor. You start observing that they can get the big picture. They start observing that they don't just understand the job or the responsibility given to them, but you start observing that they see the bigger picture, how everything flows together, how how you dress, how you move, what you say, how you don't say, the reflection of your voice, your gesticulation. So all of that becomes part of what you're observing about a person. You observe their creative thinking. You observe how they bring themselves. You observe their demeanor. Are they nice? Are they mean? Do they smile? Do they look away? Do they make eye contact? You start observing, hey, if I had to have this person represent me, what would that person look like? If I had this person make a phone call on my behalf, can they do that? Observation. But observations then take us to the second O, which is opinions. Opinions. We all have opinions, don't we? Every one of us has opinions. So let me give you the bottom line. The reason you are on this call is because of your opinion of me. It's as simple as that. If you had a low opinion of me, you would have never purchased the Sequence to Success. You would have never logged into this. It is your opinion of me that allows me to speak into your life. Now, that opinion is shifting at all times. Please understand that. Even on this call, either you're thinking same of me, you're thinking higher of me, you're thinking lower of me. Even as this conversation goes on, we go into question and answers. I see a lot of people are in the chat line right now, but if you have questions, send them in so we can answer those. But your opinion is shifting at that time. And then people can form good opinions, wrong opinions. I have formed wrong opinions of people before, had to correct that. You have done the same thing. People have had wrong opinions of me or bad opinions of me and changed their mind. In fact, people have had good opinions of me and then changed their mind. So opinions are like that. A few things about opinions. Have you noticed how quickly we form an opinion? You meet somebody for the first time, you just form an opinion that quickly about them. You go into a restaurant, you go into a church, you go into someone's house, you're driving a car, you form opinions all the time. And have you also noticed once you form an opinion, how difficult it is to change your opinion? Because it's very difficult for people to change their opinion, and opinions once formed start forming us. And then have you noticed how our opinions affect other people's opinion? And have you also noticed how freely we share our opinions? Yeah. It's like, well, I wouldn't go to that restaurant. I don't like that church. I like how he talks, but when she starts singing, I don't like. And we share our opinions so freely. I mean, what is Facebook all about, for example? What is Twitter, Instagram all about? It is people. I know there's some information, but that is still somebody's information. That is still somebody's opinion. And it is your opinion on their opinion that keeps going round and round. And then have you also noticed how our opinion affects other people's opinions? A lot of people don't do certain things because they have heard somebody else give their opinion. And in my class, you also learn that opinions do 4 things. They promote, demote, stagnate, or terminate. They either promote somebody, they demote somebody, they stagnate somebody, or they terminate somebody. So opinions are important, but they all find their genesis inside observations. And so once you've observed somebody, when you observe something, you formed an opinion, and now you are going to give them an opportunity to or opportunity not to. So your opportunities that come in your life are based on those things, based on how people observe you, opinions they form, and the opportunities in your life. So this is what I'd like for you to do before we get into some questions, and see what we have to do with the answers over there. Because at the end, I want to give you a way to think about this whole concept since I've written the book. So the material I'm going to share with you at the end is not in the book, was not in the course, because I'm a constant learner. So it's not like I've written the book, I'm an expert on it, I have nothing else to learn from it. I have learned more about this whole thing. So I'm going to share some things that are not in the book, not in your workbook, not in the videos that you watched, some new learning that I have discovered. So I want to save that for after the questions. So here's the thing that you have to know. Somebody else key to your success, and you hold the key to somebody else's success. You need to know that, because your observation, your opportunity is going to either promote, demote, stagnate, terminate. And the same thing is going to happen from somebody else. Somebody else will do those 4 things with you based on their observation and their opinion. So while we are observing others, we've got to know we are being observed too. There's a camera on every one of us. And I know I have spoken long enough, didn't mean to speak this long, Virgil, but if you want to just jump into the questions you've received that before you, let's see what we can do for that. And then I want to come back and conclude our time. Also, I have a very special, never before given offer I want to tell everybody about. So take it away.
Yes, of course. Well, let me just say, for me personally, Dr. Sam, this book and this sequence to success has been so effective in understanding so much. I was reading it with my 12-year-old son, Caleb, and even he can understand. And he was telling me, oh, Dad, that's why if people are observing me, they're going to have an opinion, and that's going to give me an opportunity in school, in sports, in church. And I just want to say, Dr. Sam, we're so thankful because this is making a difference. We're seeing a lot of questions come in. We have people from all parts of the world and all parts of the states connected. Here's the first question, Dr. Sam. Somebody writes, I've done everything I can think of to ensure that others' observations of me are positive, but there are still people on my team who seem to view me in a negative light. Are they always going to see me this way? I think we're all sometimes worried about observations.
Yeah. So the good news is no, they're not always going to see you like that. So what you have to do is to say to yourself, what are people observing about me? Because remember, the opportunity is the last circle, is the last O, is the 3 O's. So it's the last O. So you got to say to yourself, no, they're not always going to think like that about me. I know that in my life. It's true in your life. So the person asking the question has to remind themselves there were people that had a different opinion of them and gave them different opportunities, but they've changed their mind. And you have done the same thing about other people. So you know it's not something static. It's not like a landscape. It's a seascape. So those things are shifting. Now, what I do want to say to you is that don't get so hung up on people who may not be able to make the journey. I don't know of anybody who has 100%. So, as wonderful as I am, I'm wonderful. As wonderful I am, I'm sure there are many, many, many people out there who don't think of me like I'd like for them to think of me. So I'm not out there to change their mind. What I am out there is to make sure that I am introspective. I have a spirit of humility. I'm willing to look at myself. I'm willing to take other people's opinions of me in context. I'm willing to learn from other people as much as it might hurt me. When people say, well, I want to give you some constructive criticism, there's no such thing as constructive criticism. So it's only constructive to the person giving it. So I just want you to just relax, keep doing what you are doing. If there's merit to what people are observing about you, then change what you're doing So the sequence starts all over again. Remember, it is observations, what are people observing, hence what opinions are they forming, and so what opportunity they can give to you. Thank you very much.
Great answer. And I think one of the things that came to my mind as well, Dr. Sam, is if when I'm concerned of others, what they're observing, I really got to check, how's my attitude, how's my preparation, how's my understanding. Those tips that you give us along the way in the book are very helpful in that. Here's another question. Again, we have people from all over connected. Here's the next question. How do you know when you're starting to care too much about others' opinions? Where's the line between a healthy amount of interest and obsessing over how others see you?
What a great question. What a great question. Now, I wish I could tell you that I am at a place in my life where other people's opinions do not matter. I'm not there, and I don't think I should be there, because other people's opinions should matter. However, I think your question implies the answer. Your question says, am I getting obsessive about this? Am I being dysfunctional about this? Am I putting too much emphasis on this? So what I would like to say to you is, you should have a healthy amount of interest in what other people think about you. But also know this, that after you've done what Virgil was talking about earlier, just taking inventory of yourself, making sure that you place emphasis on where there's merit for that. Because people, when they are saying stuff, you may not like what they're saying, you may not like how they're saying it, but if you allow it to soak into you, you may say, you know something, they have a point. And then you can make that correction over there. So the answer to your question is, don't be obsessive about it, but be very, very cognizant of it. And don't let it run or ruin your life. Allow it to continue to strengthen where you're at. Great question. Thank you.
That's great. That's great, Dr. Sam. There's a lot of people getting integrated here and involved in the chat. We have a question from Cedric. How do you lead more effectively if you are not the top leader in an organization? And I know this is a tricky question for some of us, like myself. I'm the lead pastor, but I've been there before when my father was the lead pastor. This is a great question. How do you lead more effectively if you're not on the top, in that top leadership position?
First of all, the principle is honor. The principle is honor. You can never go wrong with honor. Dishonor is a very terrible thing. You will sow very bad seeds from that. So honor up, honor up. Number two is, when you're not in the lead position, you are over here, but here, how are you caring for your leader? What is your leader observing about you? You have to ask yourself, what does the leader need from me? You got to ask this question, why did this leader bring me on here? Because somebody can bring you on here, but for them to keep you there is another question altogether. So they have, up here, they have observed something, they have formed an opinion, hence they're giving you an opportunity. And you can move up if you can help them observe something different about you, form a different opinion. That's the only reason we go up. So if you're not in the lead position, keep honoring, keep asking the question, what does my leader need from me? So I'm going to give you a nugget. Fall out of your chair is going to be that profound. But everyone has thought about this before. It is going to be as simple as simply asking this person, how can I serve you better? Do you hear me? Simply asking them, how can I serve you better? Just you asking that question will raise their observation, hence their opinion and your opportunities. So today, if you are not in the first chair, you are somewhere here, you're your primary leader, just do a simple thing. Contact your leader and ask them, here are the words, how can I serve you better? And then whatever they say, you flow with it. Can I give you that profound thought one more time? Pastor, CEO, supervisor, executive director, my leader, my department leader. How can I serve you better? 6 words. Here we go again. How can I serve you better? That's it. And you will see a marked change in them and for you.
I love it. I love it. I think that every top leader of organization would love to hear that question asked. Very good. This is words of wisdom from Dr. Sam Chan as we continue to discuss the sequence to success. I have another question here, Dr. Sam. There's a lot of people interested in knowing more. Here's another question. In the book, you mentioned 4 things our opinions can do: promote, demote, stagnate, and terminate. Stagnate seems to have a negative connotation, but is there a time when stagnating someone is the best thing for them?
Well, that's a tricky question. Somebody's setting me up there. I can observe that somebody is setting me up. So there are people who entered a job 40 years ago. They're still on the same job for 40 years. They retired from that job in 40 years and remained at the same steady pace. And that is good for people for whom they are not looking to go higher. They just want a steady outlook, steady income, steady job, steady responsibility. They are not trying to get anywhere. They just want to be where they're at and do what they're doing and continue what they're doing. And I think I'm good with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now, if you had given an indication to somebody who is above you that you had an ambition or a desire to do more, they would have tuned into that. But after the first few years, everybody knew that she was years of age when she became our receptionist, our secretary. She is 65 now, still the receptionist, still the secretary. Everybody knows her. She knows everybody. She knows more about the business than people realize, but she's steady, steady, steady. I wouldn't call her stagnant. I would just say she made a choice in life, and there's nothing wrong with that. So whoever's trying to set me up with that question needs to know there's not stagnant is not a negative word. It has negative connotation, but it's not a negative word.
Very good, very good, very true. Because sometimes we can tend to put a connotation on something that's not necessarily negative. But thank you for bringing that insight. Okay, here's another question. The questions are coming in. What is the most common way you've seen leaders squander their opportunities? How can we avoid this mistake? I think we see this all the time, Dr. Sam. How can we avoid squandering opportunities as leaders?
Oh boy, I've done that so many, many times. I've seen that right in front of me, and because of my opinions from the past, I squandered new opportunities. And we've all done that. And I think that is where we all need a good dose of humility. Humility which says, let me look at this. Let me push pause. Let me think about this. If you're a believer, let me pray about this. Let me get somebody else's counsel on this. Let me talk it out with my family. Let me talk it out with my spouse. I have friends. Let me see what they think of that. Because opportunities can get squandered. And here's what I know about opportunities. Opportunities usually just go away. They never come back. Once in a great while, you might be blessed enough to have an opportunity back. But opportunities basically don't get postponed, they get canceled. There's a season for everything. There's a window of time for everything. Even talking about the birth of Jesus, Paul tells us in the book of Romans, in the fullness of time. There was a window, there was an opportunity, there was a timing. And so if you have opportunities today, before you say no, I want to tell you, I have messed up pretty big time on this through my professional career. I can remember I had a great opportunity that was brought to me by a world-class leader. I'm not going to name that person, but the world-class leader brought me this opportunity of a lifetime. And I said no to that opportunity. So I came home and I was bragging about it to my wife, saying, hey, I said no to so-and-so. She looked at me like, what's wrong with you? I thought you were smarter than that. And then I had to re-engage that person and in all humility say to them, I heard what you said. I'm sorry for my immediate response. Can we revisit that again? And I want to tell you, because of my willingness to listen to my wife, back and talk to this person, and this person having enough grace to give me another opportunity, my life was transformed forever. All that happened because I was willing to have that spirit of humility. Now, I'm not bragging about my humility. I'm simply saying, if you pass by opportunities, you might want to try to reach back on it and say, how can I find another way into that?
So good. So good. Again, we are just tapping into more of Dr. Sam's heart on the sequence to success. Can I just say, Dr. Sam, I have a question I want to ask you just because it captured my attention and my son's attention because he was watching the conclusion of the modules and the videos that you set up. And you talk about the peanut butter principle.
Yeah.
Or the peanut butter syndrome. I had never heard of that, but I'm telling everybody about it, the peanut butter syndrome, because I'm a lead pastor, and as a lead leader, you kind of feel obligated to treat everybody the same, to spread the peanut butter all the way to the edges. That's how I make my sandwiches for my kids when they go to school. So can you touch on that? Because I think a lot of lead leaders or people that will be in that position could benefit from that.
That is a mistake leaders make. And what we do is we take peanut butter and spread it evenly on the bread. That means the bread is your team, peanut butter is your resources. Team and resources. So if you take your resources and give everybody the same amount of resources, you have created that peanut butter syndrome. So that simply means, what are your resources? Your most important resource as a leader is your attention to something. That's the most important resource you have. But there are other resources as well. Your attention, your time, your money, facilities, people, building a team, all those things are resources, but not everybody needs those and not everybody deserves those. So those who are really being productive, those who are really bringing solutions, those who are really making it happen need more peanut butter. Edges of your sandwich that are not producing, because if you give the same amount to everybody, peanut butter all the way, then you are really rewarding people for incompetence and penalizing people for competence. And people got to know that you're going to give disproportionate amounts of peanut butter to those, or resources to those who are doing it. Here's the deal. Everybody in your organization knows who is winning and who is not. Everybody knows in your organization who is being productive, who is not. Everybody knows. So it's not like nobody knows or this is a big secret. This is what I call an open secret. Open secret. Everybody knows the secret, and the secret is who is doing it, who is not doing it, who's productive, who is not productive, who brings solutions, who brings problems, who's got a great attitude, who finds a bad attitude in everything. So put your resources behind people that are actually deserving of those resources. And that's what I call the peanut butter syndrome.
So I'm assuming it's safe to say that some people will get a little more peanut butter than others, and it should be okay.
It should be, so we don't, here's the sentence. We don't treat people equally. We treat people fairly. We don't treat them equally, but we treat them fairly.
Very good answer, and I love the peanut butter syndrome. Here's a question from an anonymous attendee. In nonprofit organizations, we often have individuals under our leadership that are volunteer-based. Could you speak to insights in leading volunteers and laying out expectations for them that are acceptable and attainable? Great question.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. So first of all, volunteers are the lifeblood of any organization. Here's a question I ask pastors on a regular basis. If this coming weekend, your volunteers went on strike, all your volunteers stayed home, tell me what's happening at your church. And they all put a big smile and they all shake their heads. You can have a mega whatever, but you don't even know where the light switches are, how to turn on the sound system. You have no idea how the screens work. You may not even have the keys to the building. So it's all volunteer based. So this is what I'm going to give you a simplistic answer, and then I'm going to delve a little bit more into volunteerism. I would like for you to Google volunteerism, not volunteers, but volunteerism, because volunteerism is a science and an art. It all starts with you asking yourself a question: why does somebody volunteer? Why does somebody give me the most precious commodity they have, which is their time? So if you're on staff on a church, you're being staff at a nonprofit, you are being paid to do what you're doing. But as a volunteer, I have a family, I have a job, I have other responsibilities, I have other interests. And on top of that, I give you my most precious commodity, my time. All I'm expecting from you is understanding, respect, honor that. When I send you a text, respond back to me. When I have a question, give it to me. Be clear in your communication. Don't ask me a day before to do something. If you have known about it ahead of time, once in a while, you may ask you to do something right away. But in most cases, you know ahead of time. Plan, because I have to move stuff around to do what I do. I'm there early, I stay back late. So volunteerism, there's an art and a science to volunteerism. By the way, there have been great books written, even in the Christian community, great books written on volunteers and volunteerism. And I would like for you to become a student of volunteers so that you can maximize what volunteers bring to you.
Great answer. I think that's important, especially for those of us in the church world or in the nonprofit community world. Very, very important. I think we have time for one more question here, Dr. Sam. I think everybody's leaning in. I'm leaning in right now. I'm taking notes here as we're doing this. And here's a question. You mentioned the pressure on leaders to be constantly positive and upbeat. Do you think there are any aspects of our work culture or even our culture in general that contribute to this pressure that leaders feel?
Yeah, I think we all feel to be the one smiling the most in the room. We feel the pressure of humoring everybody. We feel the pressure of everybody's getting along with everybody. We like to tell a few jokes and some stories about each other. We feel the pressure to bring cohesion and create an atmosphere, environment in which people will get along, to go along. So the pressure there is not so much to be positive. The pressure there is to create that environment, that atmosphere in which good things can happen, ideas can be received, vision can be downloaded, people can volunteer, people will get it and rise to the occasion. And that is what we call positive, but it's really not that. It is the pressure to create that atmosphere in which good things can happen. And that is just part of leadership. I don't want to call it cultural. I just say when people come into a room, when you're having a meeting, when you got leaders around you, so think about a church service. Praise and worship, as much as we enjoy that, that's creating the atmosphere for the word to be received, the atmosphere for lives to be transformed, the atmosphere in which preaching becomes easy. Is creating the atmosphere of touching heaven and heaven touching us. And so that is what is really happening over there. So once I reframe that question to say, do I have to create the atmosphere? Yeah, the leader is responsible for creating the atmosphere, the environment in which good things can happen. Thank you so very much. That was a great last question. So carry on. Don't want to disturb your train of thought, Virgil.
Well, I just want to say, I said it at the top of this Q&A, the wealth of knowledge and wisdom and just practical sense in the sequence to success in this book, Dr. Sam, has been a blessing to my life personally. And I can just say, if I have your permission, I'm going to share it with everybody I see because I see it everywhere. I literally see it everywhere. I'm talking to people and I'm literally saying, hey, it sounds like you want some opportunities. And so those opportunities are directly connected to going in backward sequence, right? To the opinions people have of you, which they're going to form based on the observations they're making of you. And so it really brings a little bit of ownership. And I think as leaders, we have to own this as well. Not only are we observing people and forming opinions about people to give them opportunities, but even in our current situations, we are being observed. We are on the camera. Opinions are being formed, and we want to see greater opportunities. And I even on a spiritual sense, I think with God, he's observing us and he sees us as his children and he loves us. But man, I'm like, Lord, put me in the game, coach. Lord, give me more opportunities to make a difference. So I'm just, on behalf of everybody who's connected, all the people from all over the world connected, Dr. Sam, and everybody who's not only already has the sequence of success in their hands, but that are going to have it in the very near future and watch this in the future. Thank you for bringing this easy way, practical way of seeing something that's kind of complicated, but that happens in a moment. But if we leverage it and understand it, can make such a difference. And I'll just say this, not only the sequence of success, but we're so proud of this, Dr. Sam. The Avail Journal is making a difference. And I think you have some offers to talk about because there's some things that God's put on your heart as well.
So you can get that Avail. Can you hold that Avail Journal up for a second? Yeah, there you go. So you can get the Avail Journal. It is almost 100 pages of full color, nothing but leadership in it. And you can get that for a whole year free of charge, 4 issues free of charge at availjournal.org. Availjournal.org. Free subscription for the first year, availjournal.org. And I'm sure it'll be dropped as a link in when this message goes out. Thank you very much. So let me conclude my time with you, and I want to say 3 things. I want to say 3 things to you. Number 1, if this has been a blessing to you, tell somebody else about it. Now, how do you do that? I'm going to say the second thing. So I want to give you an offer that you can't refuse. I have what is known as the Sam Chand Leadership Institute. Thousands of people all over the world paid $2,000 for a year's program. But I have an offer you cannot refuse. I'm calling it the whatever you can pay offer. That simply means this, that if you want to pay $2,000, it's up to you. But if you want to pay whatever you can afford, no questions asked, you'll get the 12-month program. In those 12 months, I'm going to give you a website in a minute to go get it. In 12 months, you're going to get 12 books I have written, a book a month. You're going to have at least 4 videos a month teaching on that book, just like you did on Sequence to Success. So 12 books, almost 50 videos over the year. It's all online. It's all digital. At the end, you will get a certificate of completion from me. All of that for whatever you can pay. So you're ready to write this down, and we'll also send you this website as well. Here's the website: samchandleadership.com/COVID, COVID. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Well, in these days that we're living in, and we're going to hear about this for a long time, I just want you to know that we have made provision for you. So it is whatever you can pay, no questions asked, no offer refused. It is your place, it is your pace, it is your price. So it is samchandleadership.com/COVID, COVID. When you go there, it's very simple. You tell us who you are, your information, so we can send it to you. You tell us how much you want to pay, one time or recurring, it's up to you. No questions asked, and bam, it is available to you. samchandleadership.com/COVID. And then if that is a blessing to you, if that information is a blessing to you, send it out. Send it out to everybody. Tell all your friends on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever you do. Tell everybody about, hey, you can't refuse. You name your own. How cool is that? You name your own price. I mean, it doesn't get, it's like going to a restaurant and a menu with all the items and no prices. And you say to the server, hey, how much does this cost? At the end of the meal, just pay whatever you want to. And that's all we're saying to you. It is whatever you want to do. samchanleadership.com/COVID. Tell everybody about it, but most of all, you need to take advantage of it yourself. Thank you so very much, Virgil. Thank you for being part of this, for leading us. You can get the Avail magazine, you can get my leadership program, a 12-month program, all of that at whatever you want, at the price that you want to pay. Avail is free for a year. Mine is whatever you want to pay. Virgil, you have been amazing. Thank you so very much. Remind yourself, it is the sequence to success. Observations, opinions, opportunities. Have a great day.